Alright, listen up, boys. If you're just starting out in Raid Shadow Legends, I already know your biggest struggle. You have no clue which champions are actually good and which ones are straight up trash. And trust me, I've been there. While I was grinding my Kale, who's going to be my first level 60 champion, I ended up sacrificing some solid champs just because I didn't know any better. Painful lessons, man. So, today, we're fixing that. I'm breaking down the top 5 rare champions you actually want to keep around, so you don't waste your time or feed away something valuable by mistake. And hey, if you haven't started Raid yet, or maybe you're thinking of making a new account, bro, this is literally the best time to jump in. I'm talking free legendary cheat codes at the start. You get Michelangelo just for logging in 7 days, Elenaril as your sign-up legendary, and if you use the promo code Demon Slayer, boom! You snag Tholen Fallbeard, plus a bunch of crazy strong epics while you level up. Basically, you're stacked from the jump. So even if you make a couple sketchy calls early, your roster's still gonna be fire. Alright, enough talking, let's get into it. Before we dive into this list, let me just make one thing super clear. This whole breakdown is based on my own research, digging through websites, community discussions, and a lot of advice from players who seriously know their stuff in Raid. Here's the deal though. Raid is a crazy complex game. You've got tons of game modes, tons of team comps, and honestly, that means a lot of champions can be valuable depending on where you use them. So no, you can't just point at 1 or 2 champs and say, yup, these are the absolute best everywhere. That's not how it works. What this list is going to do is give you a solid idea of some rare champions that the community rates super highly. Champs that are considered valuable almost across the board. Basically, this is here to help you make smarter choices and not accidentally throw away something that could have carried you later. And yo, quick tip for all the new players. If you're ever unsure whether a champion is worth keeping or just straight up food, use the in-game rating system. That thing is a lifesaver. The ratings literally show you where a champ is good, where they're average, and where they're just hot garbage. Use that, and you'll know exactly if they're a keeper or if they're upgrade fuel. Alright, enough setup? Here are the top 5 rare champions in Raid Shadow Legends you absolutely want to keep an eye on in 2025. Number 5, Prosecutor. Coming in at number 5, we've got a rare that doesn't always get the spotlight, but definitely deserves it. Prosecutor. Now, let me tell you why this champ is actually rated pretty high by a lot of players. First off, Prosecutor is literally the only rare champion in the game with an AoE decrease speed debuff at 30%. That's huge, because slowing down an entire enemy team or a dungeon boss is game-changing. The only catch? It's not guaranteed. It's a 75% chance to land. But hey, if you build the right masteries, you can push it up to 80%, which makes it way more reliable. Still not perfect, but when it lands, oh boy, it's nasty. Next up, the triple hit A3 with heal reduction. This is what makes Prosecutor a complete beast in Fire Knight's castle. Why? Because Fire Knight is all about breaking down that shield, and triple hitters just rip right through it. Add in the heal reduction, and suddenly you're shutting down his healing at the same time. That's 2 birds with 1 stone. But it doesn't stop there. Her double hit A1 comes with turn meter reduction, and that's clutch not only for Fire Knight, but also in fights like Spider and Dark Fae. Controlling turn meter basically means you're controlling the pace of the entire battle, and Prosecutor brings that in spades. What's cool is that she actually plays very similarly to the starter champions, you know, Kale, Elhain, Athel, Galek. But the difference is that she's spirit affinity. And that spirit typing gives her a niche in certain fights where the starter champs struggle. So while she's not going to carry you everywhere, Prosecutor is one of those sneaky rares that can absolutely clutch some big battles if you invest in her. That's why the community rates her higher than you might expect. Not because she's the flashiest, but because she brings a rare mix of abilities that just work in some of the hardest content early on. Number 4, Apothecary. Sliding into number 4, we've got a champ that honestly every beginner should get excited about, Apothecary. This dude is basically the definition of support MVP in the rare pool. Why? Because he's the only rare champion that can throw out a team-wide 30% increased speed buff and fill your turn meter at the same time. That combo right there is insane for progression. Speed is literally the most important stat in Raid. The faster your team takes turns, the more control you have, and the more times you smack the enemy before they even get to react. Apothecary makes sure your squad is always running laps around the opponent. On top of that, he's packing a great single-target heal. And not just a little tick of health, it's a strong, reliable heal that can save your carry champion in tough fights. If your Kayle or Elhain is about to drop, Apothecary swoops in and keeps them alive long enough to finish the job. That kind of clutch healing is why so many players swear by him early on. And his base stats? Surprisingly solid for a support. He's not just there to buff and heal. He can actually take a few hits without instantly folding, which makes him even more reliable in longer fights. But here's the kicker. His A1 is a triple hitter. And if you know anything about Fire Knight's castle, you already know where I'm going with this. Fire Knight's shield is all about landing multiple hits as fast as possible, and Apothecary brings that utility right on his basic attack. That means while he's boosting your speed and healing your team, he's also actively helping you break down that shield. Absolute game changer. So yeah, Apothecary isn't just some background healer. He's one of those rares that can literally carry your account through the early and mid-game if you build him right. That's why the community holds him in such high regard. Number 3, Painkeeper. Alright, cracking into the top 3, we've got one of the sneakiest powerhouse rares in the game, Painkeeper. Now, at first glance, she might not look like much, but trust me, this champ has some absolutely busted utility that makes her a favorite for tons of players. The biggest thing? She's got an ability that reduces all ally cooldowns by 1 turn. Yeah, you heard that right. Everybody on your team gets their skills back faster. And in a game like Raid, where timing is everything, that's huge. This is vital in certain setups, especially for things like Clan Boss and Iron Twins teams that rely on super tight speed tuning. If you've ever tried to put together a comp where every single turn matters, Painkeeper is basically the glue that holds it together. She keeps your rotation smooth, your key abilities cycling, and your damage flowing non-stop. But it's not just about cooldown reduction. She's also a solid healer. And for early progression, that's a lifesaver. You're going to be going into dungeons and campaign fights where your champs take heavy damage, and having Painkeeper there to top everybody back up makes those runs way smoother. She gives you both survivability and utility at the same time, which is rare to find in one champion. So, yeah, Painkeeper might not look flashy like some big damage dealer, but the community rates her so high because of how much she enables your team. Whether it's making your Clan Boss squad hit those longer runs or keeping your early game roster alive through tough fights, she's one of those rares that just puts in work way beyond her rank. Number 2, Renegade. Alright, locking in at number 2, we've got the queen of cooldown resets herself, Renegade. This champ is straight up legendary level when it comes to what she brings to the table. Why? Because she's hands down the best rare reset champion in the entire game. Her ability reduces all ally cooldowns by 2 turns. 2. That might not sound like much if you're new, but in practice, that's absolutely busted. It basically means your team gets to fire off their big nukes and clutch abilities way more often. Here's the crazy part. If you're looking for an upgrade from her, you can't even settle for an epic. Nope. You literally have to pull top-tier legendaries like Prince Kaimar or Yumeko to get something better. That's how good Renegade is. She's sitting in rare rank, but she's operating at the same level as some of the most sought-after legendaries in the game. Talk about punching above your weight. And the reason players rate her so highly is because she's essential for speed farming. Whether you're clearing dungeons for gear or blasting through Doom Tower stages, having Renegade on your team means you're cycling through skills at light speed. Your nukers get to nuke more, your debuffers keep control rolling, and your runs get faster and more consistent. So yeah, Renegade is one of those champions where, if you pull her, you don't just feed her away. You build her. You keep her. Because she's got one of the strongest and most unique abilities in the entire rare category. And that's why the community has her rated this high. Number 1, Coldheart. And finally, sitting at the top of the mountain, the undisputed champ of the rare tier, Coldheart. No debate, no arguments. She is unquestionably the best rare in the entire game. If you pull a Cold Heart, you stop what you're doing, you build her, and you never, ever regret it. That's how valuable she is. Here's why. Her A3 is absolutely busted. It smacks with enemy max HP damage, which means it doesn't care how stacked the boss is. It just rips a chunk right out of their health bar. And on top of that, it comes with a 100% turn meter depletion. That combo is so deadly that it makes her the MVP for killing bosses in pretty much every dungeon and even the Doom Tower. Doesn't matter how tanky they are, Cold Heart cuts them down to size. But she's not just about one ability. Her A1 is a 4-hitter. And if you've been paying attention, you already know what that means. Fire Knight's shield? Yeah, it hates Cold Heart. 4 hits in one go, plus her massive A3, and suddenly one of the hardest bosses in the game feels way easier. Same deal with Spider. Her kit makes those fights so much smoother, and honestly, she becomes one of your most reliable boss killers across the board. That's why the entire raid community puts so much respect on her name. She's not just good for a rare, she's good, period. She outperforms tons of epics and even some legendaries when it comes to boss fights. So yeah, Cold Heart is the definition of a game changer. If you're lucky enough to pull her, congrats, you've just got yourself the #1 rare champion in Raid Shadow Legends. And there you have it, the top 5 rare champions that are absolutely worth keeping in Raid Shadow Legends. These champs might not be flashy legendaries, but trust me, they can carry you through some of the hardest content in the game if you build them right. But hey, don't go too far, because this was just the warm-up. I've got a top 10 video coming soon that's going to dive even deeper into the rare pool. So if you thought this list was hype, wait until you see the full breakdown. Make sure you're subbed so you don't miss it. And yo, quick reminder, if you haven't downloaded the game yet, or you're thinking about starting a new account in Raid Shadow Legends, this is literally the perfect time to do it. Download through my link and you'll get one of the most insane starts ever. Michelangelo as your 7-day login reward, Elenaril as your sign-up legendary, and with the promo code Demon Slayer, you're grabbing your 3rd legendary beast, Tholin Fallbeard, plus some super powerful epics sprinkled in as you level up. Basically, you're starting off stacked, so hit that link, start strong, and I'll catch you in the next one where we'll break down the top 10 rare champions in Raid. Until then, peace.